يا أمة الإسلام بشرى لن يطول بك الهوان قد لاح فجرك باسما فلترقبي ذاك الزمان.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. If you're struggling this Ramadan, if you're trying, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your deeds and may He accept your efforts. Remember, the moment to return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, not next year. It's now. And remember, you are worshipping a Lord who does not keep grudges. Even if you have not prayed your entire life and you're 80 years old, and don't ever think that Allah is going to say, where were you for these last 80 years? And now you're coming to me and praying to me. Allah is not like that. He is happy. When you come back to Him, He is happy. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment sharing with everyone one reflection or one thing that you learned from this video so that we may also benefit from it. Today's dream is one that I had in November 2007. Now in 2007 I spent almost a year in HMP Prison Manchester, and it was out of 10 different prisons that I went to in 11 years of prison in 2 countries. HMP Prison Manchester was the worst. It wasn't the worst because of the conditions. Some of the conditions, like the food for example, was quite good, and some of the conditions were okay. But it's because the officers were basically they were racist psychopaths who would try to torment the prisoners from the morning till the night. So in HMP Prison Manchester, I met a prisoner who was one of the most remarkable people that I've met in my life. We became friends during that year, and we are still friends to this day. And that was a man by the name of Peter Fury. So you may have heard of the boxer Tyson Fury. So Peter Fury is the uncle of Tyson Fury, and he was his boxing coach when Tyson defeated Vladimir Klitschko, I think it was, in 2017 to win the world heavyweight title. Peter's own son Huey is also a boxer, and Pete is a boxing coach, and he teaches he coaches many boxers, both male and female. He's quite famous, quite well known. You can Google him. In his previous life, Pete was a gangland organized crime boss. So he was a big time level, that was in his previous life, and that's why he was in prison. He had done a prison sentence before, and this was now he was facing some other prison charges. So we became friends during that unit. We became close friends, and I would go into a cell and I would sit there, and we would spend hours and hours and hours and hours talking. We'd talk about religion, we'll talk about our families, we'll talk about culture, we'll talk about manners, we'll talk about our childhoods, we'll talk about politics. We would share stories from prison and life experience, and we had some really, really good conversations in that 1 year. Now, in October of that year, October 2007, I got moved to another prison, and I used to write to Pete, and Pete used to write back to me because he was still in Manchester. And one night I saw a dream. I saw Pete in a dream, and I saw that he was on a boat. Now, when you see yourself on a boat, that means salvation. When you see yourself on a boat, that means you will be saved from the hardship or calamity that you are in, because which prophet's people were saved on a boat? Nuh alayhi salam. Noah's people were saved on a boat. So if you see yourself, if you're going through a trial and you see yourself on a boat, then inshallah relief is about to come to you quite soon. If you see yourself reaching the shore, then it's very, very close. So anyway, so I wrote this to Pete, and I said that I saw you in a dream, and if this dream comes true, then you're going to leave. You're going to come out of prison. Your case is going to be resolved very soon, and you're going to leave prison. And that's what happened. A couple of months later, 3 or 4 months later, Pete wrote back to me, and this time he was writing to me from his house, and he said my case got resolved, and he said my case got resolved, and I came home. I'm back with my family now. So that dream that I saw about him, it came true. So we kept in touch, and even after I came home from prison, I went to see his son fight in a boxing match, and I sat there ringside with his family. So we keep in touch with each other. We meet from time to time, and he and his family, they're very good friends of me and my family, and we kept that friendship, which has now been almost 20 years, just from that year that we spent together in prison. 3 reflections from this dream. The first one, people connect with each other by the hearts, not by their education. So this was a man who was from a Irish traveller background. He had no education. He grew up in caravan parks. A very simple, he didn't have status in terms of education or in terms of being articulate or whatever. But I connected with him, someone like me with a master's degree, and I worked in a university, but I became friends with him because our hearts connected on something that was similar. Not because of wealth or status or a background or a different culture. I had a different culture to him, a different language, everything was different, a different religion, but we connected and we became friends at a deeper level. Because how people connect with each other by their hearts. If your heart inclines towards another person, you will become friends with that person, even if he's of a different social or educated or a different type of status or class, for want of a better word. The second lesson, it's not automatic that Muslims will always be on your side and support you, and people that aren't Muslims will always be your enemies and those who are against you. I spent 11 years in prison because a Muslim imam who used to lead Taraweeh prayers, who was Hafiz of the Quran, who had memorized the whole Quran, who used to teach Islamic knowledge to people, that person made lies up against me, and that was one of the main reasons that I spent 11 years in prison and why I was assaulted by the police. On the other hand, I had lawyers that were not Muslim, and in some cases Jews. I had at least some of the key parts of my legal team, at least 2 of them were Jewish, both in the UK and in the US. And they helped me to get compensation for the injustice that happened to me with what the police did to me when they assaulted me and they abused me and they tortured me. It was a Jewish lawyer who was part of the team that helped me to get justice, and or a lawyer of Jewish origin. And in America, it was a Jewish lawyer that helped me get my freedom back. So it's not automatic that anyone who's Muslim, straight away that person is going to be on your side and he's going to support you. No, it's not automatic. And it also doesn't mean that anyone who's not Muslim, that person is your enemy. Muslims have this obsession with Jews, that okay, all Jews are the enemy. No, they're not. They are not all the enemy. There are some Jews that help Muslims more than other Muslims. You see what's happening in Gaza, for example. Some of the biggest opponents of the genocide of what is happening in Gaza are Jewish people, Jewish Americans, Jewish Israelis, less so Jewish Israelis, but there are Jews that are against what's happening. So it's not an automatic thing. The third lesson is, at a basic level, humans are more similar to each other than they are different. We often have stereotypes, and Muslims, as a result, we've become quite insular. We've become quite insular that we don't mix with other people of other religions and of other communities. We just like to mix and stay within our own. And then we complain when there's phobia of Muslims, Islamophobia, or hatred of Muslims, or there's hostility towards Muslims. We also have a responsibility for mixing with other people and letting them see what is the beauty of Islam and Muslims. When I say people at a human level are more similar than they are different, there's a friend of mine, and for a number of years their daughter was suffering from cancer, and it was a type of cancer that could not be treated in the UK. So the UK National Health Service, they selected every year a small number of British families to go to America for specialist treatment of it. There's a certain type of treatment that is only available in America. So anyway, so this family, so they're a practicing Muslim family, the husband has a beard and the woman wears a hijab and abaya, and they took their daughter and they went to Florida, and they stayed in this like center where other families from around the world who are also undergoing cancer treatment, they are also staying there. Now, he had quite a unique experience there, and my experience, and I mean, if you're living in America, if you're listening to this in America, then you know what I'm talking about. But despite what I went through and the time I spent in prison in America, I actually came back from America with a positive view of American people. Obviously, I'm not oblivious to what they're doing, and in terms of their foreign policy and in terms of their way they run prisons, and obviously there's a number of issues and problems there. But as a whole, I came away with a more positive opinion of American people than when I went to America. So he had a very positive experience there. He said as soon as we went there, in the first couple of days, we were in a restaurant, and we were talking to the waiter, and he was asking, what you're doing in Florida, and he thought we'd come to go to Disneyland or come on holiday, and we told him why we've come here. And at the end, when it came for us to pay the bill, that same waiter, he's just a waiter, he said, don't worry about your bill, it's already been paid. That waiter paid the bill for that family, and he said, welcome to America, and I hope you have a good stay here. They organized free tickets, priority tickets for them to be able to go to Disneyland, to be able to, they don't have to wait in queues, they get VIP access, they can go to the front of the queue, and there's a number of trips and excursions they made for them. One of the families that they became extremely close to was an Israeli Jewish family. A Jewish Israeli family who had come from Israel, and they were practicing Jews, and their child was also in Florida to get this cancer treatment. And in the months that they spent together, and they saw each other almost every day and had long conversations together, and they went through the same emotional roller coaster, they connected and became very good friends, and to this day they keep in touch. People naturally are not born hating one another, and it's something that Malcolm X said as well. People are not, Malcolm X or Martin Luther King, I can't remember, people are not born, babies are not born hating other people, for example, because of the color of their skin. Children are born colorblind, but it's their parents and adults and people around them and society that teaches them to hate. Hate that person because he's black. Hate that person because he's white. All white people are the devil. Hate all white people. You have to be taught to do that. Hate Asian people. Hate Oriental people, for example. Hate has to be taught to a child. It's not something that comes naturally. Love is what comes naturally. So if people can be taught to hate, it's easy to teach them to love, because love is something that comes more natural. It comes more naturally to the human soul. That's something that Martin Luther King said, something along those lines. Every day, every moment in your lives, you can be an ambassador for Islam. In your workplace, the way you deal with your colleagues, in the streets, when you're doing business, in your interactions at home with your neighbors. If you find out a neighbor is sick, go and give them some fruit or send them a card. If you find out your neighbor has had a baby, go and give them something. If you find out if you make some food, go and share it with your neighbor, for example. Don't backchat about people in your workplace. Let people see that this man or this woman is different. There's something different about them, and they would know that you are a Muslim, and you are different because you are a Muslim. So it's very important to spend time to mix with people that are different to you, so that these people, they can see the beauty of Islam, and even if they don't become Muslim, then they will, at the very least, they will be neutral towards Muslims. They will not be hostile towards Muslims. Now, you don't be good to another person because you have an ulterior motive. Be good to the people because that was the way of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You don't have to do it because, oh, I've got an agenda and I want that person to become Muslim. Of course you want them to become Muslim, but don't do it with an agenda. Do it out of the goodness of your heart, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will show them, will open their heart and will show them whatever He wants to show them. If you enjoyed this video, please share an anecdote or a story or something that we can all benefit from about the themes that I've mentioned in this video. Remember to like, leave a comment, share and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Till the next video, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
يا أمة الإسلام بشرى لن يطول بك الهوان قد لاح فجرك باسما فلترقبي ذاك الزمان يا أمة الإسلام بشرى لن يطول بك الهوان قد لاح فجرك باسما فلترقبي ذاك